start officially.
Okay, no problem.
But even if other guys won't catch us, the beauty is that we are recording. So we'll do it. Let me just get a bit more light for myself here.
Yeah, I think I need light as well, maybe. I don't know. Am I okay?
You need more light as well, yes.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's better for me as well. Yeah.
Are we waiting for anyone specifically?
Not at all. And I'm thinking since we are recording, we could hit it, because beyond the next 45 minutes, you have things to do, and I also have things to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we should get started.
Okay. So are you recording both audio and visual?
Yeah, Nelson, let me just ask my guy. Nelson, are you doing that? Nelson, are you there? He's gone off. We are recording the video, the audio at the moment, because I can't see Nelson here.
Okay, so all right, but you'd still want to interface with me visually?
Absolutely. It's a belief system, Christine.
I understand. I get
Good
it.
afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Moses Bulamu. I'm a teacher, strategic communication specialist. And recently, as recent as June this year, I've been having a passion and a push on mental health for men and for women. And the approach to mental health for me is not on a treatment table. The approach for mental health for me is the social aspect of life, that we are able to speak through life, that we are able to interest each other into the healing process, depending on what we've gone through. So this afternoon, my friend, Kristen, from the music world, because that's what I associate her with. I started listening to Kristen in my first year university. I'm now 52, so you can know. And I was at university in my 20s. So this afternoon, I have my friend Christine talk through. It's not that she has a prescription and medication to mental health. No. It's that we can medicate mental health even away from the medicines, away from the prescriptions. Christine, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, Moses. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. And all of you who've taken time this Saturday to join us. My name is Christine Mawadri, and most people might know me for my time in the media, which is about 30 years. Yes, 30 years. When Moses approached me, he said, when you mention Christine Mawadri, the first thing that comes to mind is music, a great voice, and a sober head. And I said, okay, that's not a bad way to start or a bad start. Lately, I've gone into the tech space, and some of the solutions are around building a resource center for mental health assistance. Others are in digital health for rural communication, rural access to health, and also in climate change for climate and weather, as well as environmental tracking and many other things. So I'm in the process of morphing like you are, Moses, and it's an interesting journey. Yes. So where do we start with mental health?
Awesome. I noticed there that you, just like I, are never static. You would think you I mean, it's good to know for starters that the voice hasn't changed from the one that we used to listen to on radio. It hasn't. You mentioned two things there that really excite me. Climate change. Recently, I've been involved with climate change, but in the aspect of mental health, that climate change could affect mental health. Of course, talking about vulnerable communities, people, men and women, and so on. That's an angle that I'll interest you on. Offset, and later, maybe next year, we'll pick up on that. Today, you ask, where do we begin? In this discussion, it's already started. But I think I'll begin by asking you, Christine, when did you get into music? Let's forget your accolades in terms of study, in terms of all that, but I'm talking to the person. When did you really journey yourself as a girl now into music? You shake your head there.
Because if you asked my family, they'll tell you Christine from age 5 was musically inclined. I was singing very high notes. I was dancing at school. I did not segregate any kind of music. If it was folklore music in a language I didn't understand, I would be there. If it is dance in any tribe, I would be there. If it was to be in the school choir, remember those school choirs, we used to have the music competitions with Ministry of Education, I think. I don't know whether those competitions are still there.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
be
yeah.
there. And I must say, I actually have a good singing voice. I do. No, like seriously, I do. Those who know me
Okay,
know.
okay.
Um, that's a part of me that I did not I did not explore, regrettably, but maybe the later years of my life, I just might. Who knows? So
Mm.
music. I also come from a background of a family where music was a big thing in our household. Any new music that came into the industry, I was lucky enough to have uncles who introduced that to us. So we all knew very early about the different genres, jazz. Of course, I'll speak about jazz because that's the genre that clicked with me very quickly. R&B, pop, Europop, Lingala, South African music, Ugandan music as well. My mom used to sing with the Cranes very, very many years ago. Yes, before they were Afrigo, I think they were called the Cranes. And she said they used to perform at the Leopard's Lair, which is now the Sheraton. So, you know, music has been with us for quite a bit. um, where do I start? Exchanging music with friends at school. You know, we used to have those little compact cassettes where if I have a Sejiko 121, you exchange with someone who has Sajiko 2 for something, and you dub that and you're good to go. So then, of course, the exchange of compact discs came, and now the rest is history. We're using Spotify, we're sharing music, we're all that. I'm still on it because my day job is actually at NRG Radio, where I'm a director in charge of partnerships and advisory. And I am still in it because music is a big part of our industry, of our offering, what we do. So yeah, I don't know whether I've summarized it enough, but yes.
You've done so well. So I hear you saying you're a product of your family. in terms
Yes.
of music. You're a product of your mama, you're a product of your uncles, you're a product of that. But one thing that you didn't mention that I see about you, Christine, is the passion. I think no one can be able to do all the things that you do musically and all that without passion. Passion, the fire that keeps you going, even when things are not too good. That's what I see you. That's what I used to hear on radio about you. The passion in the voice, the passion in the presentation, the depth. You're one presenter that didn't run off the mill with with
You
the
know what
happiness.
I don't know what that means by that, but about the passion, definitely my passion for music is very deep, if I must say.
Mm,
Some of the other things that I do in my other life, part of an organization or a group called House of Jazz, where we are three amazing ladies who decided we need to do something about the music sector, especially in genres that are not recognized, and yet they play a pivotal role in the foundation of music. One of the things that we did was to identify music, organically played music, like instrumentalists. There are so many young instrumentalists out there. Their passion is to play the guitar, to play the bass, to understand what the synthesizer does. That word always doodles me. The violinists, and there are so many in the market, but nobody's giving them attention. So what we did is we said, why don't we create this house of jazz, get those uncelebrated artists and showcase them to the world against a premium platform so the youth feel good about themselves. So those who are creating organic music know there's a place they're seen. And turns out the orchestra is now a big thing in town. 2 years later, and just recently we had Navio fusing orchestra with hip hop. For me, that was the peak. And there's so much more that I see going to be to come out of there. Young people are more passionate about going to a wedding and actually playing their instrument, being seen, being felt, and they're doing amazing music. I went to Makere School of Dance and Drama, MDD. Was invited there by my good friend Polycarp Chagulani, who is doing a very great job with orchestra music, young people, and instruments. And these kids were playing Stevie Wonder's hits. Like, I know, right? And I asked myself, I had goosebumps. I'm thinking, do these kids even understand the depth of what they're doing? I mean, when you're playing Sir Duke from Q's Juke Joint, you're thinking, do these kids understand? And they just play. I thought to myself, seeing them with their instruments, getting out of there about 7:30 or 8 in the night, and they're going to jump on a Mawadri to go back home or to get into a taxi to God knows where. Probably did not even eat anything. But the passion with which they played that music sent something home. And I said to my friends, guys, we need to set up something where these kids have to be seen. So those are some of the things. If you're asking about passion, there it is. We also started an online station with friends of mine in Canada called Jazz on the Move. And what is that really does is it's also a showcase for instrumentalists, African music, fusions, to say if mainstream music is not going to play you, we will play you. And it's been very successful. I must say we have a listenership base in just under a year of about 30,000 from all over the world listening in. Yeah. So music for me is a big thing. I think I'll go back to the Bible, where when King Saul was very depressed, They say he had manic depression. By the way, just so you know, I did divinity at school. So I'll make some references to what I
Okay, go on.
so so King Saul was believed to have manic depression. And was it King Saul or it was Solomon? I think it was. I can't remember which one. Anyway,
It
and
was King Saul.
it was King. So David at the time was playing the harp.
Mm.
And every time David played the harp, it was said that the king would be very relaxed, he'd be happy. And every time he felt, like things were not going right politically, or he had stress from all the wars and the conflicts that he was dealing with, David would then come and play the harp, and then he'd be very relaxed. He'd be himself, he'd be happy. So, what does that tell you about music? Music is therapeutic. Music is I must say, it's celestial. Because again, when you go back to the Bible and they're talking about the angels and the trumpets, why is the angel and the trumpets very important? Why aren't they not talking about drums? When you see how David came from his wars and his conquests, and music was his way of exalting the power that gave him, victory. Again, it was music. So music is a big thing, and it's not only a big thing for enjoyment, for entertainment. It's a lot to do with our mentor as well. When you listen to certain lyrics, they will either make you very sad or they'll make you very happy. It's also said that it's important to understand the kind of music that you're listening to if you are in a certain way of mind. Because if you have a very sensitive affinity for emotions around words, those might affect you. So I don't know whether I have encompassed my passion for music. I could talk about it the whole day.
I know you could. Only that I'm not going to let you do that, but I know you could. Christine, I have a son in senior one in Namiriango. He plays the guitar like he's been doing it for years. So you never know, one of these days I'll just ship him to you with his guitars.
I know exactly where to take him, and he'll be very happy.
We'll talk about that. So,
And for being that parent who encourages him
you're, you're
to
welcome.
is whether we want it or
President,
not. Yeah.
go on.
Yeah, the creative economy is dictating the way that parents need to start seeing what professions will be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Yes. Again, I'll catch you on that. The creative economy. I wrote an article about how we get so stressed out by paying when we are paying school fees. Okay. I kept asking, are we paying for value? Do our kids come back from school better in terms of what they have learned, theory versus practice? A very big conversation. But let's stay the music conversation. And in terms of mental health, I've been talking to men, I've been talking to women alike, and my 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 voice, my passion has been, you don't have to end up at the treatment table. You don't have to do that. The most important thing is how you journey the mental challenge that you're going through now, how you journey it. It could be reading books, it could be this and the other. And you've just nailed it for me when you factored in King Soul and then the angels and the music and so on. Is it possible, is it true that you can tell, like now you are into the music world, you can tell what a person is going through by what they're listening to?
I can even tell what the person's frame of mind is from
Really?
just, oh, you can.
Go on.
Because you see, there's what you call resonance. Music is energy. We have energy. We are energy. So you attract to you what sits well with you at any one time, knowingly or unknowingly. There's always a reason why a happy person will not listen to a certain, you can tell when someone is happy, then the music will be full of energy, upbeat. Sometimes someone will break out into dance and things like that. And then there'll be people who are just low energy. They don't want, the same person can have low energy. They don't want to do anything that day. They just want to listen to, let me use this one, Sinead O'Connor with Nothing Compares. and, and this person is blaring Sinead O'Connor's music, like, oh, it's on repeat. And when that's happening, then there's some therapy going on there or some resonance. I mean, it's funny, but it's a fact. So it's true. Music, in my opinion, reflects what someone feels and thinks on that day. Then there are also people who are very mindful. If they know that they're feeling a certain way, they'll catch it quickly and then maybe play a certain kind of music. And you suddenly find someone is so high energy at their work desk and you're like, okay, are you okay? I'm dealing with something, all right. You want to listen to reggae? Yes. Are you feeling good about it? Do you? So you can tell when you can't tell. And
I
that's
hear
fine.
you. I hear
It's
you.
really,
Um, I need you to, I know you don't have a lot of time. You have so many things going on today, but I need you to, without me interrupting you, I need you to,
I can go a bit over one, if that's fine with you, but let's go on.
okay. So I need you to talk to us about how we can medicate mental health, how we can medicate ourselves to mental wellness using music. And I'm not just talking about music, what we hear, but even when we play, what we hear other people play. I don't want to interrupt you on that. I want you to passionately talk to us about that. How we can medicate using music.
I'm not sure that I would be the person to talk about, when you talk about medication, my heckles go up because I'm thinking prescription, medicine, appeal.
Chrissy, can I cut you short on that? It's the word that we have used when we are going to the pharmacy, isn't it? It's the word that we have used when we've gotten that paper from the doctor. But I'm using it in the general sense of things. Like, how do you medicate hunger? By eating good food, isn't it? I'm just using the word medicating, as a
and
therapy, as
and it's
as
very
a vehicle.
and it's
Mm,
very good that you have clarified that one, because
yeah.
we want the World Health Organization tumbling down on us about self-medication. Anyway, what I can tell you though is we need a holistic approach to anything to do with our mentors. You see, in my thinking, your brain or your mind is the center for everything. Once that is not aligned or that is not stable, then everything else falls along the way or along. So a holistic approach is always good. I always encourage people to use what you have. Try and sing even if you think you can't. Because that way you're practicing not only your vocals, but there's a certain school of thought that has what you call the chakras. And there's what the throat chakra, which is very important for expression. Sometimes these portals are good for you to open up so that you can express yourself, so that you can put out to the world or an ear what you feel and think, and that is relief. If you can get an instrument, you don't even have to be perfect at it. You don't have to. Just try to play an instrument. What does it do for your mind? It keeps you, first of all, alert. Secondly, you're learning something different every day. They even say that for those who are in the evening of their times, to risk Alzheimer's or dementia, they say it'll be nice for you to learn how to play an instrument, whether that be a flute or a guitar or a dingedy, if you can get that. I used to play the tube fiddle at school. You know that I
Yeah,
used to.
yeah.
I loved
You
it.
should, you should love it more now.
I hope I still remember how to play it, but I love it. My mom got me that one for my birthday. Can you imagine? She got that for me and I was the happiest ever. Whole neighborhood knew when I was playing my tube fiddle and I loved it. I really did. Anyway, yeah. So, oh, bless her. Anyway, so get an instrument. Do something about your vocals. Even if you don't know how to sing, you don't need to. I know artists in this world who have made it big time on lousy vocals. Look up a guy called Future. The guy, I don't even know what he's doing, but he's on the charts somehow. He had even had a #1. You don't know who this will resonate with. And if it doesn't resonate with anyone, you're good. So learn an instrument, try to learn how to sing. Dance is amazing. Move your body. It's good to move your body to music, to beats. I think I always tell people it's easier to feel good, to want to feel good. Two things. When you're depressed or you're feeling a certain way, choose the easier way. And the easier way is a good thought, dance, music. It's the easier way. It might not be the solution maybe, but it's the easier way for you to get your sanity back. And hopefully, you can now start to do the things you're supposed to do or align yourself to your goals. What was the other question again? I think I answered everything.
You answered everything. I just want to recap on you've said this twice. You have said use what you have, and you backed it with choose the easier way. And many times that's where we are having the difficult path of life. We want to think that, okay, if I'm in the negative in terms of emotions, the best way to get out of those negatives is the hard way.
I'm going to cut you short there, and I'm not cutting you short because what you're saying is not true. I just have a certain thought process about that. When we are born or brought into this world, we are babies, right? And when you look at babies, they're the most innocent, happy beings. The baby will walk up to a stranger who probably has a gun and smile at the stranger and still survive. There's a certain belief traditionally that snakes can never bite a baby. Why is that? Because a baby's aura, a baby's person has not been contaminated by conditioning. Now, when a baby starts to get conditioned, this is when now all these things fall in place. How you're spoken to when you're being molded or mentored to be a certain person, how the methods used at school, the conditioning you go through in your family, all these things make you who you are and what your mind will be, especially what your mind will be. If, for instance, and I keep using this example, there's a time that I lived around Chiwatule area, and unfortunately for me, at the back of my house where I lived, there was a slum. And this slum, every single day, this mother was screaming at her baby all manner of profanities. This child probably was about 3 or 2 years. And she was all manner of things that I can't even repeat here, in Luganda, Mwanakwe or Sirani, Misambwa, things like a mother talking to her 2, 3-year-old baby who can't even understand why. So now tell me how that baby is going to grow up, even when you put wealth before them and they'll be positive. They can't. Everything will always be negative. They'll be always seeing things from the negative perspective and never the positive. And I speak this with a lot of passion because until parents, guardians understand the impact of what they do to children from their inception stage, we will always be grappling with a lot of negativity, and it spirals. It spirals to workplaces, marriages, relationships, how we deal with ourselves, how we show up, because a child's wings are clipped even before they can fly. So it's very important to have a positive impact on children, a positive impact on young people, even those who have been abused in some way. We should be mindful to see it and get it and say, listen, I have you. What that was isn't you. That's not your portion. That's not your destiny. You can actually use the easier way, which is the good way, which is the way you want to be. That's what you should. Some things I think don't need, okay, the psychiatrists are needed, but in an environment in Africa where when you seek mental help or mental health help, there's a lot of stigma. There's a way we need to start doing some basics ourselves until that narrative changes. Again, when we do, probably we'll be part of the people that change the narrative. We start and the rest take it through. So that's where I wanted to stop you a bit. I was not negating what you're saying. I was just saying that the negative aspect to life is what we've been used to. And when you're used to something, it's hard for you to let it go because you don't know what next, where do I go, what feels comfortable for me. And most times it will be the negative.
Thank you so much, Christine, on clarifying on what you have and the simplicity of doing things. I think that was a very good clarification there. We are guilty, aren't we, as parents? We are guilty of sometimes failing to choose the right words, sometimes failing to give the hug. We can give the outburst as opposed to the hug. We are guilty in many ways. By the grace of God, we get there. But we are guilty. But you talked about stigma. I want to tag it with another word in terms of mental health: vulnerability. Stigma and vulnerability. In our circles, the African circles, and for the men, it's negative to be vulnerable. I would like you to talk to us to marry the two words, stigma and vulnerability, in terms of music and mental health, if you can.
Okay, that's quite something, but I'll do my best. I'll start with I always go for the easier part. The part that goes, that's easy for me, to articulate, and hopefully I can put the two together. So you touch a very interesting topic again. Men, vulnerability, and mental health. I will start by first saying that our culture, most of our culture, does not understand when you say, I have a mental health issue. Bagamba nti oli mulalu. And a certain place in this town has been associated with this. When you say, listen, I'm hurting and I'm not myself mentally, someone immediately says, oh, wabutabika. And it's sad for me when that happens, because this is somebody who's reaching out and saying, listen, I need help. I'm losing my marbles. And like I said, the mind is the center for everything. So when that is juxtaposed in an abstract that you don't understand, many things fall on the wayside. So traditionally, there's been that stigma. However, I also know that traditionally there were ways in which such issues were resolved. That's why these fireplace meetings in the evenings with your grandmother, the fire chats would be amazing. Those stories that they would give about the folklore stories, there was always a story behind, there was always a lesson behind it. Where if you, as the person who's listening, the child or the wife or the father or mother, you'd kind of relate to a character in that story or the lesson behind it. And it's so interesting that the most gentle people in that whole system, especially in the communities, village, family, were always the grandmother or the grandfather. The grandmother or grandfather, even in your 40s, is the one you'd go to and say, listen, I'm having it so bad. And interestingly, that grandfather or grandmother would be able to give you advice and say, mwana wange, edda twakolanga bwe tuti, or we used to do this. This, what you're going through, is not something new. But I can advise you that, maybe get a group of elders and let's sit together with, if it's your wife or your spouse or your brother or whoever it is that that has caused this problem, and you get it solved. It was a community solution. It was something that affected everyone and they had a solution for it. Now, fast track to our life here, our world here, where there's technology. You go on Instagram and YouTube, there are all these people telling you how to think, what to take, what not to, which standards to keep, which ones to drop. And it's very confusing, because if you are set in this African culture and you know that your grandmother or your mom or your aunt, your koja or your singer is someone that you go to see maybe once in 3 years, your problems won't stop, they just keep piling. So you're left with what you have on the digital platforms, and that's very confusing. Sometimes you may pick what you need then, and especially talking to young people, not only that, but even older people who don't know what to do, these pressures of life, So men, I have a very, 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 very soft spot for the boy child. I know many people look at Christine and the first thing they think, women emancipation, liberator. No. I am very clear about this, because the way a man has been fashioned is to be the head of a home. He is the head of a unit. And that is one unit that must be protected, that must be understood. Children, whether boys or girls, grow the same way, in the same environment. But girls are, of course, because of our nature, we are handled a bit more gently. The boy is taught not to cry, not to express himself, even if he's very happy. It has to be in a certain controlled way. There are some cultures where a boy cannot even show that he's crying when he's grieving somebody. You know, it's everything is bottled in. But then, like everybody else, the boy child bleeds red, like they're human beings too. They have feelings too. So my biggest concern is, how do we bring back this to the fold to say, hey guys, you know what? We see you, we hear you, and you can express yourself and it's fine. How do we go back to the schools where, or institutions where boys are being caned for crying because, you know, something happened to them? I also think boys go through so much abuse and they don't talk about it. Because as you grow up as a man, how are you going to say I was abused? How? You can't. They'll be asking you, so you were abused, what did you do about it? Like, you have to fight for yourself. And even if you fought for yourself, how do you get out of this thing? How do you heal yourself out of it mentally, that trauma and all that? So I say the men are the heads of the home. If such people are the ones that we women are entrusting ourselves to lead, to guide, to be leaders of institutions, let alone the most important unit, which is the home, then what legacy does that pass? Because then the father passes it on to the next, the next, and the next. Yeah, yesterday I was somewhere, and the conversation was around this father who was saying, no, 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 no. Boys have to be brought up the hard way. And I'm like, why? So because I went through that, so he has to. And I said, he doesn't have to. These are two different things happening now. And now bringing it now to the creative economy, you asked about music. How are you going to tell a boy who, or a man who has decided he's had enough with his degree in, and I have seen many of them, his degree in law, his degree in bioscience, chemistry, or whatever, and says, you know what, that degree was yours, mom and dad, I'm going to do my own thing. And there's so many that are doing that now. I see it. And the parents are crazy frustrated. Oh no, mom, I'm going into fashion designing. And you're thinking, I thought this guy said he wanted to be a doctor, or I wanted him to be a doctor. I paid a lot of money for him to do this. Why is he going into fashion designing? Because most times it's hard for the kids to know what to do with these professions that we're throwing down their throat in this age where there's a lot of options and things for them to do. And you find the creative side is where they are heard and understood. Because this is your core, you see. Your creative is your core. This is who you are. Whether that be in metal fabrication or carpentry or writing music, that is who you are. So then does that make you a lesser man? I don't think so. Because I want to believe at the end of the day, a man who knows who he is, his value, in his own standing, whether that be a creative or otherwise, is a man who will lead his home with passion, compassion, and a certain sense of direction. Lately, I'm hearing young people, when you ask and say, hey, what's your end game? What's your end goal? Say, I just want to be able to take care of my family and provide for them well. And you're thinking, okay, in our time, he said, what do you want to be? There'll be all these things. I want to be a lawyer if that doesn't work. I'm going to be a doctor if that doesn't work. I'll be a journalist, worst case scenario. just be a businessman. You see, everything was towards what I want to be and the professional realm. These kids now are saying, no, I want to be who I want to be. And who I want to be is, at the end of the day, is to make my family happy. That is my core. That be my wife and children, and in future, my mom and dad. And how I get there is what will be me, whether that means me being a creative or otherwise. So you see the dynamics have changed. And this, I think we need to take some good time to think about it, especially where the boy child is concerned. Because the boy child, we expect he has to be a teacher, he has to be a certain profession, so that we know he wakes up in the morning to go and sit at an office, speak a lot of English, do great things, great, and then bring back a bag at the end of the month, where he pays the rent, he pays the school fees, he does everything, but nobody's really caring for what he wants, what the man wants, what makes him happy. I think even men have probably, most guys that I've met have even forgotten what they really want or who they are. As long as the family is happy, the guy will wear the same shirt, the same shoe, and you're like, oh, Madame is looking very nice, children are going to good schools, but this guy is just left to his devices, and that's where you see alcoholism, you see other vices coming out of there, and you start to find outlets which you never expected from certain people. And again, that's putting pressure on who they should be. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I hope I'm touching something.
You are so detailed there, so detailed. Society has made us forget who we are.
Mm.
The expectations from society, and I'm talking in terms of men, the expectations of society have made us forget who we are, and we multiply it to our sons. So it's one needs a wake-up call to know that, like you've just said it, to be a man doesn't mean to wear a suit every day. To be a man doesn't, and I'm going to use your words, doesn't mean to go 8 to 5, speak a lot of English and come back home. That doesn't mean. So, but we are product of what we were told. And when you say that, maybe earlier on you said maybe this generation will help change that. And I like your passion for the boy child. I have 2 brilliant boys. I don't want them to turn up in a suit 8 to 5. I pray that along the walk of life.
And for some reason, they want to look like their great grandfather that they had used to go and do their 8. That too is fine. But the important thing is that they're happy in doing that.
Yeah.
And that seen and heard. And that when he
Yeah.
comes back home, he can get his son on his lap and say, okay, dude, what happened today? Is there something you want to talk about? And let this boy tell him everything that was going right, that wasn't going right, and have like a one-to-one with him. Not just provide and say, can you imagine there's some fathers, Bambi, who don't even know what class their children are in?
That's true. That's true. What about their age?
There's one who didn't even know the second name. Omwana namutuuma lino naye maama we yamuwobalirwa. Like, yeah. And you know, most times we say, that's because men are not interested. No, it's just they have a lot on their plate that even the very important things don't matter anymore.
True. Earlier on, you and I were speaking, and you told me that it's true men go through a very difficult time in life. It's very true. But also it's very true that we have learned to mask it. You know, we have learned, and I'm going to go back to the other word, we have learned not to be vulnerable because we are told vulnerability is a place of weakness and a man shouldn't be weak. So along the paths of life, we have, what's that word we used to use in broadcast? We've created our own escape routes. You are lucky if out of 10 men you find 2 that can read to themselves, self-help through books. You are lucky if out of 10 you can find men who just sit down and write. You are lucky. But you are extremely lucky when you find 10 men going for a drink up, because that's the only way they have known in terms of sorting their mental health. Or, since I'm a man, men who are chasing girls, not because, and I'm a church boy, not because they're full of spirits from Satan, no, but they're looking for an escape. And they feel one girl after the other will give them an escape, which is not true. So in terms of vulnerability, go on.
They're trying to numb a pain, but you don't quite numb it that way.
Exactly. And when you flip the coin for them, for their boys, they don't have the notes, to use the word on the streets. They don't have the notes to read to the boys. So they will think, well, church will do it. Church might not do it. Mama will do it. Mama might not do it. School will do it. School might not do it. Society will do it. And then society is saying, each one for themselves, God for all.
Yeah.
So we are, to use this expression, we are between a hard stone and a cactus in terms of, and we need to wakey to know that, look, this is how I want my family to move. The idea of talking about mental health presently, going back to what you talked about, our judges, our grandmas, the fireplace, fantastic place of learning. And that's what we abuse because we think it was so ancient, it didn't touch base with life, but actually it touched A to Z of life. So Christine, you've touched so many things. I've just been writing down these things and I'll send them to you.
Yeah, but I wanted to touch on the aspect of music and the creative sector with mental health. When I was talking about all these professions, I was trying to create a weave to eventually say that if a man wakes up in the morning and he's a music producer, and he's the best music producer that there is, or he's trying to be the best version of the music producer that there is, that should be enough. He should be able to get support for that. He should be able to be allowed to fly and bloom and impact and inspire other young producers. Just like the way doctors, lawyers, and all these people do. He should be able, when he goes to a quandula or goes to a funeral, a family funeral, whatever, to be seen as someone who's actually doing something that's worth his time, that everybody respects, like the next person. And in that way, he should be also be able to be paid well. He should be seen as someone who brings the bacon home.
Very, very true.
Very true, because it turns out, Bawe Muimbi, okay, so what does that mean? Muimbi means what? Does that mean it's not respected? Does that mean that artists are not people? And yet the industry, the music industry is one of the biggest, like it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So
absolutely.
The disconnect is, why then are artists not respected? Was telling somebody that, when you are applying even for a passport or anything online, and there's that drop down of your profession, There's nothing there that would say that I am a musician or I am a creative or a content creator or a dancer. No. They just they lump you up with advertising, entertainment sector. Yeah, that's it. But the rest
Yeah,
will be doctor, all that will be down on that. So I think it's also time for us to start make these professions that are worth people's time, to be recognized, seen, heard.
very true. Christian, is it the way we have packaged this profession over time? Have we packaged it negatively, do you think? Do you think the writing has been negative for a long time?
No, I tell you what happened. We have evolved.
Okay.
Remember, in the time of the choppers, the time of the Bach, the guys who used to, the time that they used to do classical music. Let's use classical music. Yeah.
Yes.
They were few and far in between.
Yeah.
Yeah? And they were celebrated like they were the best of the best. You had to
Absolutely.
the best of the best for you, and they were few.
Yeah.
So if they invited an artist to come and do an opera recital at the palace or whichever it is, that had to be like the best, and there were few. Over time, that has changed. We now started to get more musicians coming into the fore. Music genres started developing. We started from classical music. We went to having, of course, we had our own traditional folklore music. We had
Yeah.
like traditional jazz, smooth jazz. Then of course we saw the build up into pop music. Then we had Europop. Then we had techno. Then we had R&B. Oh my God, it's now so much that's happening there, and somehow the range in how when a horse is just going so fast and you can't hold the rein. And this is what has happened. So technology is bringing us back to saying that, hey, by the way, this now is the big thing. It has
Yes.
started. So you see AI, and I think you've heard this so many times, AI is going to take away a lot of jobs, but the one thing AI is not going to take fully is the creative side.
Yeah.
Because you have to prompt this for you to get what you want, right? Think about how we detect what we're thinking and then create, something. So anyway,
That's
the point I'm making is I hope you see the transition I am bringing to the fore. So that time there was and far in between. And then as, all this grew, the numbers grew, the genres grew, the interests grew. Everyone had a choice to pick for which artist, which music, which genre,
yeah.
what they want. And there was just so much in the market. So this is what's happening.
Super. Super. I was reading, you talked AI. I was reading something about the jobs that AI will take away from us and the jobs that AI will not take away from us. And the number one job that they say that the AI will not take away from us is being a chef. The AI can do cooking.
So AI can't be a plumber either. And we all need a toilet at some point. So yeah, we need to eat and we need to go. I am not. Well, robots might be able to do our gardens. I don't know. Those two things, I am not sure, but they
I doubt if they can do the African gardens.
yeah.
Kristen, we've spent 1 hour talking. I would like you to wrap this up. Leave us with Abaganda, they call it Entanda. You leave us with something that we can go with in terms of mental health and music.
Okay, so I'm a very factual person. Sometime in my life, I was actually deep into research, data analytics, and things like that. And I like to put numbers to things that I talk about. So, according to the World Health Organization, 116 people in Africa, this is estimated, suffer from depression and anxiety disorders. Let that sink in. So, with the creative and entertainment industry growing, and a fast growing population, probably the youngest population in the world that Africa has, showing above, average stress and burnout levels due to many things. This could be financial instability, performance pressure, as I mentioned to you, and identity. All these related challenges. How are we going to harness this? How are we going to make sure that, there is part of everything that we do, especially where the music sector is concerned, there's always a footnote about mental health and creativity for music. I'm also going to put it this way, and this is a bit graphic. Mental health is taken as something that is, it's intangible because you can't see it until someone reacts. Am I right? Yes. When somebody,
Yeah,
I
very
can't,
right.
it's until someone reacts or does something that you realize, there's a problem.
Yeah.
But I want that if someone has an injury, say from an accident, it's very easy for you to identify the problem and say, yeah, he broke his leg or he had a bruise. That bruise will heal quickly. All you need to do is just get it dressed and he'll be fine. Okay?
Yeah.
And if it's non-communicable diseases, what will happen is that they'll chuck an instrument down your throat and find out what's going on with you and diagnose, and that's it. But the thing about mental health is that it's something that people don't see. It's intangible. And this is the analogy I like to use. I say, if we all moved around this world,
Hi there.
George, can you just please?
Whose microphone needs to be muted here?
Oh, George. Thank you, George. So if, for instance, we decide, let me use this analogy. If we were to invert all the wounds that we had, our mental wounds, and inverted them and put them on our bodies, all the wounds, the scars that we had, that we've been moving around with in this world, each and every one of us, and translated that to wounds outside that people can't see, what do you think this world will look like? You'll see people moving around with wounds that have never been healed, wounds that keep festering themselves. It is that bad. And I think we need to give mental health the attention it deserves, because if we invert it that way, it will be very dire what we see. Those are my last parting shots.
Indeed, they are more than parting. They are hemming words. You've hemmed this conversation very, very well. The analogy, do you know that some wounds keep oozing with pus, even when they've been plastered?
Because
But
someone
because
is
they're exactly, but because they're internal, we don't get to see. Christine Mawadri, thank you so much for your time. I'm greatly honored and blessed. And I know we can do this again next year
sure.
on our podcast.
I love this conversation, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I think someone is saying something in there. Direct
Oh, let me get, Nelson, are you there?
One called Shadi.
Yes, she's saying this is very insightful. Thank you, Christine and Moses.
Oh, thank
Is
you,
there
Shadrak.
anyone who, maybe there could be someone or one or two people who want to ask Christine a question? Is there? Please feel free. You can type it in the chat or you can unmute and ask Christine before she goes. Anyone? Okay, they're all shy like me. We'll give them.
Oh, I'd like to say something.
Oh, super.
Okay, Shadi.
Hello. Yes. Moses, thank you very much. It's Shadrach.
Yeah, well.
Shadrach Olenga. Yes. Yes. I saw this yesterday when Moses shared this with me, and I'm very glad we're actually getting to speak about this openly. But I mean, I'd just love to let Kristen know that on the side of the men, like she said, that we're very good at numbing the pain and masking this pain. I feel like it's just going to be some sort of behavior change. A lot of men, we have to sort of talk to men now and be like, it's okay, it is okay. But for me, that process, how is that likely to play out? Because not so many men will open up. Like for a guy, you could easily open up to your friend, maybe at a bar or something, and you can actually see the pain they're going through the alcohol they're drinking, then they easily open up. But how should it be for men that it's very like it's okay to open up, it's okay to talk about what they're going through? Because I always feel like women will always just pour out and be like, oh, I'm going through this, and they're very open, and when once they share, they get solutions, they grieve and move on. While for men, it's a bit more complicated. How do we then tell men, you know what, it's okay, just it's okay to be vulnerable? So for me, I feel like many men would love to, but there is that whole fear of, you'll be seen as less of a man, and I'd rather open up to my guy within my peer circles than probably open up to a stranger and to them going through. There's this whole fear of judgment and perception. Thank you.
Wow. Can I go, Moses? Can I comment on what Shadrach has said?
That's your call, Christine. That's your call.
Shadrach, first of all, thank you so much for being a part of this. I always say, even if we are few, as long as what we're doing can be is impactful by the truths that we put forward, and also understanding very well that it's a maze and nobody has clear answers, but we all start to move in one direction. Hopefully there'll be a change. So Shadrach, I'm going to say, as you were speaking, the first thing that came to my mind is the people that we need to really understand men and women. Because even if a man goes to talk to a man,
could you kindly say that again, Christine?
I think the people who need to understand men are women. Because if you're going to go and talk to a fellow man and go back home, the problem still goes on. I think what women need to do, and we need to start being intentional about this, is allowing a man to actually, we need to normalize men being vulnerable to open themselves up to their spouses. It has to be, whether that be a spouse, or whether that be a mother, whether that be a sister, or even, a boss at work or a colleague at work. Women, we need to be, we need to listen. Listening, first of all, is always the number one, if you like, step to being understood. For you to understand the other and the other to understand you. Because if we're looking for solutions and we're always going, I will go to my fellow guy will give you his insight, Wambi, the way he knows. But that might not be what is relatable to you. So we women need to start normalizing listening to men and allowing them to be vulnerable without creating any kind of stigma or making them feel vulnerable.
Mm.
How that's going to happen, I'll leave it to, you know, the mental health fraternity to think about it, because there's no other way we are going to heal this if we are not actually addressing it head on.
Mm.
Because the
Mm.
issues are usually between the two. It's never, whether that be a mother, an aunt, or whatever, or a wife, or whichever. It's never, mostly it will be a dad, yes, but there'll be a woman intertwined somewhere there. That's why men don't want to show their vulnerability, because the other sex or the other gender should not see them that way.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is to normalize this and say, guys, let the guy talk. The other one, of course, is to use channels where guys meet, or where young people meet, or where peers meet. And young people, even peers, our age mates, meet, whether that be both men and women, and make those meeting meeting points, whether that be meeting for a game of chess or football, or, you know, sharing a bottle of wine at a friend's house or something. Those should also be places that people should be able to let out, whether it is, you see, when you're letting out where they're both men and women, it's helpful, because you leave knowing, today I learned something. I thought I was the only one in this situation, but apparently it's everywhere. So and so handles it this way. Maybe I should, I could pick a leaf from there. I'm not alone in this. Mercy is saying something. Hi, Mercy. Thank you so much. She says this is absolutely right. Women need to get involved in a lot in the lives of men, and also understand that they are human, get hurt, and they can cry. Thanks. This is very true, Mercy. Thank you for your contribution. So Shadi, I hope I'm making some sense to you. And I know you're saying, how can that happen? It can happen. You just need to get where you feel heard and seen. Like your schoolmates, classmates or schoolmates where they're women, like even your sisters, you need to start making it, you know, and it does not need to be you. But like I said, there's got to be a movement that starts to say, guys, let's listen to men.
Very true. I like the way you continually say normalize the conversation, normalize being strategic, normalize being proactive, normalize. Things won't just happen by chance, not at all. There has to be a move away from, this is who I am, this is how I do it. If you do it my way, you don't do it my way. There must be a normalization to a win-win situation. And Shadrach, thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much, Mercy, for the text that Christine read out. And once again, Christine, thank you so much. There's another one coming in? Is there another one coming in? Otherwise, if there is none, we are going to end it at here.
Yeah, Shadi is saying, like yesterday, let's have a physical space where we can address mental health issues in partnership with CCare at Muri College. It would be a great start. So like I also I have built a software that's supposed to be a mental health resource center.
Where is that?
Resource center.
Talk to us about this before you go.
So I figured out that because of the stigma of being seen to go to, say, a counselor or a psychiatrist or psychologist, to do it online, you know, and just keep it like part of your pass, like an app on your phone, where you can have access to a counselor, you can have access to help if you need reference. If, say, it's a lady who has been abused, she can have access to emergency or just call out to help. If it is a child or if it's a man who needs to meet who's broken and says, listen, I have nowhere to go, they should be able to. And and get help. So it's work in progress, and we're looking for partners to work with. Us, we're just a tool, but the partners would be the content that populate the platform, and I think it's time for it to go up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christine. And I'm going to look you up for that and more. So I like your passion. I have just learned me that apart from music, you are passionate about people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. We are truly blessed, and I trust I'm going to have you back next year, like I promised, so that we talk mental health. And for all the others that have joined in, thank you so much. I will say it in my mother tongue. Those of you that are planning, have nothing in plan yet, but are planning to do something on the 1st of November, the place to be will be at Mwiri, where we have the homecoming. Christine, thank you so much for your time, and have a fantastic weekend ahead of you.
Thank you,
I will be
Moses.
talking.
Everyone. God bless.
Bless you.